live here and like it's just crime's out of control. Everything has gone off a cliff. And yet here we have this proposition that wants to take away everyone's voice and vote and control and power and give it straight to the leadership that is so corrupt. And no one's doing anything about it. It still hasn't changed hearts and minds. So I don't know. We don't want to give up. We don't want to throw our hands up, but I just don't know what it's going to take to change people's minds at the end of the day.
Well, I think I've got an answer to that, but let me do a proper introduction for the show real quick now that everyone's here. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday, October the 29th, and this is America's Outpost. My name is Aaron, otherwise known as the Doge Update Guy, with my fellow hosts, the real Brett Lee and Brian Lane, and our special guest tonight, Campbell of Politically Basic. If you have not followed her yet on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, please take a moment to do that. And for all of us, if you haven't had a chance to follow us, we would appreciate the follow. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on across the country. And I wanted to follow up, Kyle, with what you just said about what is it going to take. And I've had this discussion with my dad quite a bit. He's like, I just don't know what it's going to get to take people to realize, how bad it really is. And I said, well, when there's not milk in the refrigerator and when you flip the switch, lights don't come on, then people will panic. And we're to the point coming Saturday where there won't be any milk in the refrigerator. Not because there isn't milk on the shelf at the store, but because the Democrats have decided, we're going to use this leverage to see what we can get away with. Never let a good crisis go to waste, as Rahm Emanuel would put it, right? So here we've got needing 60 votes in the Senate. Even though we control the Senate by a slim majority, it takes 60 votes. And most people don't realize we do need some Democrats to cross the aisle. We've got it squared away in the House. It's Senate Democrats that are holding this up. 13 times we voted to open the government back up, and 13 times they've said no.
Yep. And I think two Democrats have sided with us, I believe, last time I checked. But, it's still going to take the rest of them. And I hate that the Democrats or I say the left media is spinning it as if this is the Republican shutdown.
They've got the White House, they've got the House and the Senate.
And they're betting on everybody not understanding how it works and that we need the 60 votes. So, and then you have that simple discussion with them and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that. So, education is important, people.
It is, and Rush Limbaugh would call it low information voters. He coined the term decades ago, and it's the truth. Had I not became involved and interested in politics, two and a half decades ago, I would be a low information voter.
Absolutely. And exactly. And that's not to say we're experts on all this. I've learned so much in the last year, just as far as the basic workings of politics. I mean, it's incredible, the stuff that we don't know. And that's almost by design. They make it convoluted so the everyday person can't figure out what they're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah. It is always shocking how little people understand about our procedures, our systems, and how the government works. But it is also interesting that, Trump has not pushed the button for the nuclear option here. And I actually think he wants to see these Democrats come to the end of themselves, and he doesn't want to bail them out, right?
No.
He's trying to protect the American people as best he can. They're getting the military paid. They're trying to get SNAP benefits put back in and funded. And so he's doing his best, but I just don't think at the end of the day, he wants to give them a pass here. He wants to push them past their breaking point and say, look, you've played these games before. We did this in my first term. I'm just not that president anymore. If you want to truly come negotiate, then you vote. We're going to pass this. You passed it before. It's absurd that you're not doing it now. 13 votes, they won't do it. And he says, fine, if you guys want to walk yourselves off the edge of a cliff, you go do it. We're here for the American people. We're going to do everything that we can to make sure they're taken care of, but we're not gonna bail you out this time.
And as risky as the move seems to be, it will be easy to clearly delineate the line once it happens.
Right.
We voted to keep it open. We're not the ones keeping it closed. Your money has ran out. We didn't do it.
Right.
And there's nothing the news media can say about it. You were talking, Brett, about who was on the Democrat side who voted in favor of opening. We have got Democratic Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, John Fetterman, of course, of Pennsylvania, who, by the way, I've really changed my opinion about that guy.
Me too. And, what a change, man.
Yeah, Senator Angus King, who caucuses with Democrats, but he is registered as an independent. So we do have some common sense out there on the other side of the aisle, but it's these hardcore leftists that are demanding trillions of our tax dollars in order to continue to fund their pet projects while we've got homeless veterans, homeless people, people going hungry, streets that need to be paved, and Brian's not getting his coffee.
No, yeah. I gotta have that. But
Chime in, buddy.
There's some there was some Democrats. I can't remember what it was. It was a Attorney General of North Carolina made a video today saying that there's a $6 billion fund set aside for emergency situations for food stamps to be deployed in case of a government shutdown.
Right.
And he accused the Trump administration of violating Congress or congressional order because they're choosing not to release that $6 billion emergency fund.
Right.
So if anybody knows anything about that, I'd like to hear about it. It's just another bending and twisting of things.
He's making it seem like, all we got to do is just turn that switch on and all the money just starts flowing again. And it's like, we're not at that point. As dire as the left media is making it seem, there's not people starving right now. And that is what that is for. If there's a national disaster or something where there's literally people starving in the streets, like EBT hasn't even been turned off yet, so to speak. So we're not at that point where that's a justifiable reason to release all those funds. And then at the same time, they're just taking it like, Trump has told us that we're not allowed to release those funds, and they're spinning it to act like he's a dictator, which they've been doing this whole time. So, I mean, it's a shame that they're basically playing a game of chicken with our lives and people's lives that rely on the government. And the Democrats are that desperate to make a point that they're willing to sacrifice that and put our people's lives at stake, if this goes on long enough. But that's the steps that they're willing to take, and it's just showing who they are. Their true colors are truly shining.
And I don't feel like the government shut down because they're still taking my federal income taxes, FICA and FUTA and everything else out of the check. So
it's not shut down for us. Well, you Doge guys must be appreciating this too, because here we have another opportunity to really crack the books. Yep. And we're seeing the numbers of who is getting this federal assistance, who's on SNAP, who's getting food stamps. And hasn't that been so fascinating? What an interesting study to see all these illegal immigrants or foreigners who are just kind of riding the coattails of, hardworking, tax-paying American citizens who are covering this for them. And now they're so upset because they can't, go use this and eat for free off of the backs of everybody else's hard work.
Yep.
How many percentage? It was like 49%.
56% of illegal immigrants are.
Yeah. So like, no. They were saying that the total food stamp like resources was like, I think it was like a half or more was all going to illegal immigrants.
Right. Yeah.
Is that true?
Like that. Yeah. I believe the number was of the illegal immigrants, 56% of them
I think that's more accurate,
taking advantage of our system. But again, still like to your point, Kyle, it's outing a lot of people that were riding the coattails, skating under the system, taking advantage of our tax dollars. And that's not to say like EBT program, there is a place for it. There are people that do need government assistance, and I have no problem with that. My only problem is the people that make it a lifelong thing and make it, to where I'm never going to get off of this. It was designed to be a safety net, and as soon as you can get back up on your feet, you don't have to rely on it anymore. But people have obviously taken advantage of it, and we're finding out who those people are now. So, I mean, it's a good thing, if you want to look for a silver lining, but it's very telling on who is taking advantage of the system.
So you asked a question earlier, and I want the audience to understand. I just researched this on the fly. The short answer is yes, there is a contingency reserve for SNAP. What it is, federal law provides a SNAP contingency reserve that USDA can draw on when regular appropriations are inadequate, often cited as $5 to $6 billion in recent years. It's meant to help cover short-term funding gaps or spikes in need. How it's been used, it was used in the 2018-2019 shutdown. USDA kept SNAP going by issuing February benefits early, so on and so forth. It says what's happening now is USDA says it will not use the contingency fund for November benefits during the current shutdown, arguing the fund is for disasters and to supplement appropriations, not to replace them entirely. Several states and advocates dispute and have sued to force USDA to use the funds. The bottom line, the emergency contingency fund does exist, but whether USDA taps it during a shutdown is a legal and policy fight, and that contingency fund wouldn't fully cover a whole month of national STAT benefits on its own. We have to open the government back up. If they had to use it and it bought people a week and the government opened that back up, great. That's probably would be the smart thing to do. But what's it gonna? It's gonna run out in a week.
Well, that's it. It'll be gone, and it won't help anyone. And this is a
Right.
this is a Band-Aid on a severed limb, right? This isn't. It's gonna be. It's not what it's meant for. And again, you're helping extend these Democrats in this for show nonsense, horrifying leadership that puts all of their constituents' lives and well-beings and health at risk while they get up there and have their little performative circus. What do you guys think is going to happen? I mean, I keep waiting for them to cave, but what I think actually really truly needs to happen is Trump will do the thing that he is best at, which is he's going to give them an opportunity to cave gracefully. and I'm just waiting for it. It's like, give them the window, give them the opportunity just to wrap this up, because it's getting to a really concerning length of time here, and they're so stubborn, they're so in their bubble, and I'm getting really worried about it. But it's like, hey guys, it's time. And when we talk about what they're trying to accomplish here, I think they're just literally serving the desires and whims of donors, and just people can't suffer through this for this long. How long's it been? I know they've had 13 votes, but what's it been, a month?
At least
a month on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
And we need to remind people they voted on these CRs in the past when Biden was in office. So for them to say they're standing their ground, some moral obligation to ensure proper funding of Obamacare subsidies, which, by the way, the sunset provision on those was put in place by the Democrats, not the Republicans, but people don't understand that because they don't research it. So weird, right? Well, go ahead, Brian. No, Brian, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's clever how these politicians spin for their people. They're constantly spinning. So like I caught that today, just scrolling through social media. They put it comes into my feed. I'm watching it. And I'm like, it makes me think, well, is this true? So I was going to bring that tonight anyways. But, so when you look a little deeper, and if people did that, which most people don't, then people would have some resolution and understand what's really going on. I mean, even I think it was Jake Tapper who got in on some of the action, was like, look, dude, it's the Democrats that are holding this up. I'm surprised he didn't lose his job. Right. So amongst many other things, reasons why he should lose his job. But these people, these people who do not know how to, actually look beyond the scroll and go look at the government websites and things like that. Like me, I had to ask somebody what's going on with this. They don't even ask. They're just like, this is messed up.
Well, it's that confirmation bias. They're looking for what they want to see, and as soon as they see it, they don't look any further.
I think it's like the far left. It's got to be the far left holding this thing up, man.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's also telling too that people like Jake Tapper are starting to be like, all right, guys, we've made our point. It's time to move on from this. It's so if people on your team are saying that, like, all right, guys, let's go, let's move this on, then obviously they have no footing to push this down the road like they're trying to.
And they don't even care about the kids, bro. Like, I don't even care about the look. Never mind. I was going to say something really. I don't even care about that young lady.
No, Brian, you're going to say it or not?
Come on, Brian.
I will say a name this way. I'll be like, oh, hey, LaQuisha. But like I don't care about people who are taking advantage of the system, whether it's Trailer Trash Tammy or LaQuita or whatever I want to name up. But like those people, I do care about the kids though, getting food and stuff like that. But
they're born into that. They don't have a choice.
Yeah, dude. Good Lord.
It's
sad.
They'll use those as political pawns and game pieces, but it's the way
they're supposed to be robbing us on November 1st. So, white people beware.
Well, I told my daughter she needs to be hyper vigilant when she goes out. I said, because things could get unhinged rather quickly, just because it's a very emotional topic, right? I mean, who wants their, who wants their kid to starve? Nobody. I don't care who you are.
Well, and then also people got to realize too that, BLM riots were a perfect example. People are looking for an excuse.
Yes.
Look at how easy it is
to small minority, but they are looking for an excuse to cause havoc, go rob, go steal, go do whatever.
Yeah.
So, keep your head on a swivel. And it's
Right.
not one, particular group of people or race or something like that.
Right.
It's all
It's
those
a bunch of idiots.
There's tons of disaffected people just looking for a reason to start trouble. So
100%. And it definitely affects those impoverished communities. And so
Absolutely.
and it's funny how the algorithm likes to just put it in your face.
Right.
Like, it's like, oh yeah. And it's so
Well-
perfect at what it does, so.
And the videos I sent you last night, Brett, the lady sitting in her car, and I mistakenly called it it's a Coach bag. I think I called it a Gucci, but all the women were correcting me. Like, well, it's really a Coach.
How dare you?
Yeah, but
You
we
didn't
get the
ask
point.
me. I can't believe
Yeah,
it.
I'm
we should've
sorry.
gotten
I'll have to get with you
confirmation
next
from
time.
Kyle.
Jeez, what
But,
am I even here for, you guys?
Right. I see if I can add this in here. Let's see if I can Instagram. All right, I'm going to share this with everybody real quick, and I'm going to turn on the audio.
Now here is yours.
Rewind this.
Whether or not you take it, they call that shit free will. I call that shit eminent domain.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? One thing I learned from the white men: take it. Hey now, take it. I don't give a fuck who's already sitting there. I don't give a fuck if your land was already established. It's mine now, and I want it. Hi, you guys. I'm out of the store.
There's the bag I messed up.
That's
So-
Coach.
The Gucci bag.
They wanted $7 for this. Mind you, I don't have food stamps anymore. They cut me off. So I only had $22 left in food stamps. So this is what I stole. Okay.
Just
They
says
wanted
it.
$9 for this. I said, oh, I don't got $9. Then they wanted $2 for this. They wanted, sorry, it's all fucked up because it's been in my purse. $7 for this. I'm making some stuffed salmon today.
Stuffed salmon.
These are needed. I'm not paying $7 for that. Okay. Let me show you.
So anyway, you get the idea. She had short ribs stuffed in her bag. She says, make sure you tear off the label because that's where the RFID security tag is. And she's like, you think I just got one?
I just
I
hate
don't know.
I hate how they serve these videos up on and it's just, bro, who's ever controlling this shit is doing a fine and dandy job at creating the
And what I can't understand with these
cultural
people-
whatever
cultural divide.
division. It's like,
what I can't understand is these people posting their crimes online.
They
right?
get caught sometimes. You see those
I'm
people who get arrested, they get fired
Mhm.
from their job,
and
but
then
they're
they go, "I
posting
didn't
on
do anything."
TikTok. They're like, look what I just stole. But first things first, this is the most important comment I can make of this entire show. That was a Coach bag,
Sorry.
Aaron. It's about
Wow.
a
He won't
tenth of
make
the
that
cost of a
mistake ever
Gucci, but
again.
Yeah.
but not cheap. I'll tell you that. Not cheap. And also the stuff she stole, that's some good stuff. That's some Boursin cheese. She's got some
Yeah.
treats in there. But I think the
At
most
least it wasn't
important thing that
candy.
she's saying was that she was making excuses for herself
Yes.
of why she was justified in stealing that, and that if you're stealing from a white man, if you're if you whatever the white man has done to you, if you're stealing food or land or anything on that spectrum, it's okay. And I am worried about Saturday because that's
Yeah.
going to be a repeat of what happened in 2020, especially in places like Minneapolis or Los Angeles saw this. The city was so overwhelmed by the theft and the chaos and the mayhem and the break-ins and the assaults and whatever. There's no way even a force like LAPD
Nope.
can come against that and handle that. And so
Mm.
it's true, we do need to be careful, and it just has a horrible ripple effect. I gotta tell you, you might have this day of like the purge, right? Like everybody's just going to be lawless and not care, and the police can't handle it. But the ripple effect is that all those family-run businesses shut down. People are hurt. There is no justice. People who serve in the capacity of like being a police officer or an EMT, they're law enforcement, they're first responders, the ones who do get attacked and beat and lit on fire when they show up to help, that's their
Right.
entire job. They're out. Like if you
Yeah.
go and you look at what happened during 2020 in Minneapolis, that police station shut down. That's how
Yeah.
bad it was. Like they just couldn't handle it. And now we have bigger problems beyond just people thinking that they are allowed to act like this, or they are deserving, or they're owed something. And it's a really scary mindset and narrative. And so I hope that we can, through this kind of discussion and through education about why we don't do that and why that's bad and why that ends up hurting people just like that
I
woman,
know.
in the long run, right? It's why
Right.
it will
Right.
come back and hurt her and make her life worse. She'll never get to Gucci. She's stuck with the Coach bag
That's what I'm saying.
Oh no.
in the end. And so we got to keep doing what we're doing. And also, just if you're going to get Coach, get a cuter one than that. That's all I
Seriously,
say.
that's what
that's
I
the
was
basic
thinking as soon
Coach.
as I saw it.
So basic.
But it's also
This
it's also-
basic, good. That basic,
That's economy Coach.
not even economy plus. I like it.
but
That's a standby Coach. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. All right. Yeah.
This whole thing makes me wonder, though, is the Democrats' plan to cause another type of Minneapolis? They
Yeah,
know
dude.
if they push people long
Midterms.
enough, they're going to start rioting. So that way they can turn around and pin it on Trump. No matter if they were at fault or not, people's memory is super short, so they can go, hey, remember back in 2025 when the riots happened because Trump shut down the government? And nobody's going to look any further than that. So, and it's sad that the Democrats will use that as a ploy to better themselves or further advance their political plight. But it's disgusting that they will do that. But I really think that that's their long plan. They're going to drag this out until everybody gets fed up and starts rioting, and then they're just going to keep that in their back pocket.
The flip side of that. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
No, I was just gonna, dude. They have no. It's not even about memory. It's they have no frontal lobe to actually go look and study. So they're just kind of like the cattle, being herded along. That's and it sucks because, man.
Well, I think they're going to take it right down to the wire and then cave and then say we had to give in because we're the compassionate Democrats and we needed to make sure that the kids were fed. But by the way, your health insurance is going to go up and it's not our fault. And they're as much as many of the politicians on that side of the aisle are dumb. Their strategists aren't completely stupid. I mean, they've managed to stay in power for a really long time. So take it down to the wire. And then when you do cave, which you don't want to do, you'll claim you're doing it for the good of the American people. And again, we'll go back to that low information voter who doesn't scratch below the surface to look at what the real details are because they're not watching us.
They're not
watching us.
That's right. Tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends. And I think that's what's going to happen. They won't let it go on too much longer. They will come in as the white knight pretending to save the day, which is fine. Because then I think that the president will just ratchet up the information even more. I have never seen the country so alive politically as I've seen it now.
No,
and
exactly.
more and more people are waking up and going, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense.
Well, and then more people, with the information age we have right now, people are able to, I mean, even with Chat GPT, you could just ask it, what does this mean? I mean, I've done it plenty of times. Hey, what is this situation? How does this work in the government? And it'll explain it to you. So I think a lot of people are waking up to that and finally realizing that, like, look, the wool has been pulled over our eyes for decades, our entire lives. I know for me personally. So it's good to see people waking up. Now what we do with that is a whole nother story. So you're going to have that, dichotomy like we have right now between the left and the right, but hopefully people will realize that it's all a game and we just got to come together as a country.
Yeah. And you can see through the charade when you start to get more and more savvy about this whole game.
Right.
So I think Schumer is the sacrificial lamb. I think they have cued and teed him up. It's too easy to say Schumer shut down, right? But they've known all along, they are phasing him out. He is not the future of the party. They're going to let it all rest on him. And when they do have to cave, he'll be the one that, gets everything gets pinned on him. But I love also that everyone's so engaged, but I worry a lot about political fatigue and just this news cycle fatigue on people. And I think that that's why we're seeing some of these special election turnouts be so low, as people are they're kind of giving up. It's awful to watch people like JB Pritzker, people like Chuck Schumer, just be so for themselves and reject and ignore what the people want. And so I do hope people are encouraged by what's happening, by the awakening that's happening, and that they do stick with it. Keep taking it in doses that you can survive and you can deal with, and keep educating yourself. Because I do think that is what our future is they're gonna keep getting more fringe, more ridiculous, more outrageous, more performative. And when it goes badly for them, they're just going to pick somebody who's got the lowest polling in their party, make them take all the heat, and then move them along and keep on trucking. And they're not going to learn from what they're doing.
No, they won't. I agree. Someone will be the sacrificial lamb. And the fact that they're trying to move AOC, the Squad, and some of these other ridiculous leftists into the spotlight for the party and the party's future is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I think it's great. It's funny. It is absolutely cannon fodder.
Well, I mean, people like Schumer, for example, he's old school Democrat. He played the game of old school politics for so long. He doesn't understand how quickly things can come to surface and how quickly we can get the information to realize that he's full of shit. So I think that they're trying to figure out a way to push him out. You know, you can just tell just by his rhetoric when he gets up on the podium, you're just like, man, you're so full of shit, man. Like everything you say, your delivery, it's all terrible. But I think they're trying to transition into the newer faces, unfortunately, like AOC and those people that understand how social media works and the information age that we're in now. Whether it will work for them, I doubt. But I think you're seeing that kind of transition on the left for sure.
I think that's literally the only thing AOC understands. She is not a well-educated human.
And how to do
on how things work, what our system is, our branches of government, how our electoral college works, why we're a republic, any of that. But she understands social media, so we'll see how far that wave carries her.
Well, and that being said, the power of social media to sway and influence people is absolutely one of the most effective tools out there. I mean, we're using it.
Yeah.
I mean, where else in any other point in time can you have your own television show? We have our own television show right now.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's really good
technology,
too.
We got 4 things in a box. It's really good. We have effects. It's free, you know, and we have the potential to go worldwide.
Did you say 4 things? 4 things in a box.
4 windows, 4 people in the box, right? I know that's not the technical term, Brian, and you know all that, but you know.
But it's the
What do you call this, Brian? What do you call it? A 4 square? What is it?
4 things.
I mean, you can call it a template. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
but like
big
he said,
fancy
4
words,
things.
Fancy words.
He said 4 things in a box, and all I thought about was like 1.
There we go.
See? Look at that. Don't see that on CNN, do you?
That's right.
I feel like we could really Brady Bunch this up right now. Like I can look at you and I can look at you.
We can turn it into a phone show.
And we're so off track right now.
Yeah, dude, this is my kind of podcast.
Yeah, right. Well,
but,
let's
this is a great point. This is why social media is becoming so popular, is because it's natural conversation between people who are for the most part on the same level, and we're just trying to understand how all this works, and we're taking information from people in our comments and bouncing ideas off of each other. It's the way things work now, because nobody's watching legacy media.
No,
they're dead.
Right. But, because we want to report on things like aide to Democrat governor busted having cocaine shipped to the office. A senior aide to Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey has been arrested in a cocaine trafficking operation that appears to have been run, at least in part, out of a state government office building. Nothing like our tax dollars hard at work. These guys being paid to run cocaine. According to court filings, 45-year-old Lamar Cook, a top aide to Governor Healey's administration, was charged with trafficking cocaine after investigators discovered packages of drugs being delivered to Hotel UMass and the Springfield State Office Building. Federal authorities say that Cook was involved in a distribution scheme that used government addresses as drop points, including one tied directly to the governor's executive office.
God.
So
You can just see how this went down,
a Democrat, right?
Oh yeah.
No. It's like, hey, do you want this aide? They've had really good Hill experience. They've worked in other offices. Or do you want Lamar, the coke dealer? And it's like, I want Lamar.
Get Lamar.
Well,
Lamar's my
straight to
guy.
the office.
What?
We don't even have to do anything.
Sounds like
Help us.
I mean, if you're a Democrat, I mean, you got to do some kind of drugs to keep going.
That's true.
But
true. You gotta keep
that's
that
the
high.
whole point, Brian, is like it didn't even help with the policies coming out of what is this,
know, right?
Massachusetts? No.
Oh, bro, that
Maryland?
should've been
Mass?
I mean, I
Mass?
figure if you're doing cocaine, you're at least getting some work done.
Well, it is a
Or
hell
it's
of a drug.
entertaining.
It is a hell of a drug, according to Rick James.
There have been a lot of rumors flying that, California's governor, Gavin Newsom, is on something because every time he comes in front of a camera, he's always sniffing, and we've got a lot of nose
hands,
twitching and touching, and he
yeah.
sways and his eyes are pink. I don't know. I'm the last person to ask about what someone acts like or operates like when they're on drugs, but it's not normal. He does not look like a normally functioning person who just had 3 cups of coffee.
He's and I can attest. I drink multiple cups of coffee a day. But that's my baseline. So
enough.
like it's, when I look at Newsom, I was just seeing him doing an interview, caring about the kids and talking about how this is so terrible, but he's so convincing. Like when he's on there and you're listening to him for me, and I'm like, dude, is there more to this guy than when he was my governor when I lived in California?
No.
And you start listening to him, and if I'm feeling like that, even though my frontal lobe kicks in like within 5 seconds, but if I'm feeling that, I can only imagine how he appeals to the everyday low info voter. As you said, that was the word I was looking for the other day. And so it's crazy because all you have to do is just appeal emotionally to people, and that's what the Democrats are so good at: emotional appeal, not logic.
And you know, I hate giving Newsom any kind of credit, but he's a smooth talker. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to. Like, there was a news conference where somebody called him out. She was trying to get information from one of his offices, and she couldn't get information
about the building, probably about spending 1.6
yes,
on the new building by the Capitol.
Exactly. So she tried to pin him down on that, and he so eloquently spun that around and turned it back on her. And it was just like, dude, you are a snake, but man, you are a word wizard. Like he is so smooth on how he does it, and it's just like he's polished. He's a politician.
It's the dark side of the force. It's the Jedi mind trick. I want to know about the building. You don't need
when
to know
he does
about the
this,
building.
that's when he's using the
About the
Jedi.
building. Yeah.
When he's doing this, that's when he's working with the Force.
There you go.
So
it's true, but when we do media training for candidates, we work in 2 lanes. One lane is the credibility side. What's your experience? What do you know? How are you going to come across and tell voters that you know how to do this job effectively? How credible are you? The other side is the likability factor. Do people like you? Do they resonate with you? Can they relate to you? Do they want you to be in this position because they just, at the end of the day, like you? This is why Hillary Clinton lost. It's why Kamala Harris lost.
Yes.
We just plain didn't like them. But over the years, you can map out, you can take a candidate and you can rate them each. This is how we determine who's going to win an election. You give them a 1 to 10 rating on the credibility. You give them a 1 to 10 rating on the likability. You combine the score, you match them up, and every single time you'll know your winner. The problem is, over the years, the trend has become that people are valuing the likability more than the credibility.
Right.
And we see that in someone like a Gavin Newsom, and that is what is terrifying. Everything that you guys are saying is spot on, and it's so concerned. He has the worst record. He has lost hundreds of billions of, he's lost trillions of dollars. He's done nothing. Every issue that we have in the state has gotten significantly worse under his 6 short years. This has not been decades. He has tanked the 4th largest economy in the world and tanked the state with 40 million people living in it in 6 years. And he will run for president, and people are like, wow, I just really like the way he sounded when he said that.
It's been that way for a long time, man. I mean, when I was in college, I was going to IU, and I couldn't stand the Republicans. They just weren't likable. George Bush to me was not likable. Al Gore, likable. Back then when I was young, and Bill Clinton.
Interesting.
Bill Clinton,
so likable.
I liked Bill. Dude, Bill Clinton was. I'm like, oh yeah, he's getting girls, and because I'm a dude, right? So I'm like, and if you're married to Hillary, I mean, it's whatever. And the point is like, I don't believe that way. I've been saved. Jesus is my Lord now.
There you go.
And I'm sober. So I grew up feeling the exact same way. So when Barack Obama comes on the scene, it's like, dude, this dude's awesome, man. Because that guy seems really cool, and that's how I voted. Yeah, that's how I voted, and I'm Gen X. Right. So
and that's before politics was at the forefront and people actually knew what was going on and would listen to platforms and that kind of thing. You just voted for who looked cool or who you related to on the social issues. And another perfect example of what's happening right now is Mamdani. People are voting for him because he's a smooth talker. Yeah. He's a Newsom 2.0 with a little bit of a socialism sprinkled on top.
No, there's no sprinkle. So he is socialist.
But isn't that amazing to know what his policies are? To know with 100% certainty he's going to ruin the greatest city in this nation. But he's cute. I'm sorry.
He's got a great smile.
Dude's cute.
And he used to rap. He was a rapper. That's cool.
Okay. It is.
And look at Aaron. He's over here dying.
Well,
but
I mean,
Dad,
all
get
right.
us back in line.
But politics is business, and people do business with whom they know, like, and trust. And before they're ever going to like and trust you, they have to get to know you. And since we're so surface, you do a great job. Just like you said, Kyle, you're going to train up your candidates in certain areas. First, we got to get your likability up. If they like you, then we're going to build up the trust factor. And to your point, the likability factor is the most important thing. If you can't be personable, if you can't talk to people, whether they're a doctor or a ditch digger, you're not going to be able to build a consensus among the voters that you need to come in to cast the ballots for you to win.
Well, and then Kyle, to your point,
but I'm not done yet.
Go ahead.
The first presidential election I could vote in was for Bill Clinton. And my dad said, "Son, who are you going to vote for?" I said, "Well, voting for Bill Clinton." And I kid you not, Sanford and said, "Oh, you're killing me." Like just like that. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I can't believe you would vote for a Democrat." I said, "Dad, he plays the saxophone, he smokes pot, and he's going to give me free college and free health care."
Yeah.
And no joke, he went inside and he got me Rush Limbaugh's book, The Way Things Ought to Be, and I read it. And I thought, shit, I'm a conservative. I'm not a Democrat. Yeah. And I've never looked back. And that's now I'm 53. I'll be 53 next month. 18 years old. Never looked back. And I'll never. I had a father that cared, and I'll never change my mind. And I raised my daughter conservative, and she sees it as well. You have to be able to scratch below the surface to look at, okay, you look good, you dress well, you're eloquent speaker, you're spot on, but let's get into the meat and to the potatoes. People want the sizzle, they don't dig into the steak, right?
Yeah, but you're 1%. You're like maybe 10% of the population.
But that number is starting to swing. More people are starting to go, I got to scratch below the surface here because I've been listening to this guy for so long. And to your point, Kyle, he's wrecked that state. He's absolutely demolished it.
In record time.
In record time, right? I mean, and it's the crimes they have committed. Who's the actor, the guy that's been running around exposing all the bull nonsense?
Oh, Spencer Pratt.
Spencer Pratt, man.
It's almost like he's got all the evidence to these guys ought to be thrown in jail right now just because. And he's got an uphill battle, but he's at least been able to get out there and expose the truth for what it is. You know, Fire Raid raised what, $100 million, and what, a buck 50's made it to the people, $1.50 maybe.
Between Fire Raid and his high-speed rail, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Oh, and you know what's interesting is you guys are making every logical, intelligent argument right now. And here's the problem. The problem is, while they have been destroying the state, they have been putting regulations and legislation in place to protect them from doing
prosecution.
This. Okay, yes, from anyone looking into where the money has gone, into checking them. It's such a super majority over here. They are completely insulated. And so, yeah, it is frustrating. And I get the comments all the time. I do a lot of videos about what's going on in California, and people say the same thing over and over. Why in the world are you morons still voting for the Democrats? And it's like, we're not trying to. And so there's a lot of question over our election integrity, but I just truly have come to the place, you guys, where it's like people are just, they're gonna vote against something no matter what the thing that vote goes toward is for.
Right.
It's just we've come to that place, and it's really heartbreaking because that's not our civic duty and our civic responsibility. We are supposed to raise up good leadership who wants to represent the people and serve the people, and we have the upside down opposite of that right now. And people are going to keep it in because he opposes Trump. And it's just, and so I don't have a ton of hope for this state, but New York can be saved. And here's what I really think is going on with this Zohran Mamdani. People know, you can tell people all day long socialism doesn't work. You can give them example after example, but they will still say to you at the end of the day, well, we've never really tried it here in the United States. This guy's saying we're going to get everything for free, and it's just too tempting for some people. And I think at the end of the day, they just want to try it. They just want to see, and they don't realize how bad and how terrifying and frightening and awful things are about to get for them. But I think they're going to do it. It seems like they're going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's going to happen quick, and they're going to get their answer really quickly. I don't
understand why that one dude, why don't that dude from the Guardian Angels, I keep forgetting his name.
Curtis Lewa.
Yeah, why didn't he drop out and let Cuomo get those extra? That's the difference.
Because you've got a split right down the middle as far as who's picking Cuomo, who's picking Slewa. Yeah,
well, let's look. Yeah, I'm going to go look in Polymarket right now and see what the swing is.
If he
Polymarket and Kalshi are like 90% mom.
90%
right now.
If you look at the betting markets, what's his name? Silva. So
No.
what you said?
Sliwa, S-L-I-W-A.
What's he polling at, Aaron? I would love to see.
He's
his
got the
polling numbers.
percentage. He's the difference between them
I
being
know.
neck and neck. That's it.
I think
Like,
Sliwa and Cuomo are both single
Oh
digits.
my God.
What is it? Say it. Say it out
89%
loud.
chance. Zorhan Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani, 89%.
But what's the-
Cuomo's 10% down 2, and Mamdani's up 2. And
Yeah, but-
Polymarket usually isn't wrong.
yeah.
What,
so
what
like,
do you have any polling
what's
in
the-
not the
yeah, what's the
markets? Do you have the
split?
polling numbers?
Yeah, give me a minute and I'll find some.
Okay. That is interesting. I think, Brian, that's what you're trying to get at too, is if Siwa did drop out, would that make a closer neck and neck race?
I think
I
it
don't
would
think
if
it
you
would make
if
a
you endorse
difference.
Cuomo. I mean, at this point, you want to save America, so it's not
I
about.
mean, you got to do something. Yeah, you got to make a move.
He
yeah.
can't
And
see it.
interest-
He cannot get outside of his own egotistical. His team is saying, "No, you have a chance. You have a shot."
no,
It's like,
you don't.
wake up, people. What
Yeah.
are you saying? Neither
All right.
you nor Cuomo has a chance.
Right.
Now, this is Quinnipiac because it's what popped up first, but NYC mayor's race, this is 7 hours old. Mamdani, 43, Cuomo 33, Sliwa, 14, undecided 6.
Oh my gosh.
I
That's
have a
more
little
safe than I
more.
thought.
I have a little more optimism than you guys. I think that some of the ads that have been run, especially by Cuomo's camp, the one that was the AI generated ad, probably the best political ad I've ever seen. If you haven't watched it, go try.
I'm
to find
actually
it.
rooting for Cuomo in this race. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Never
obviously
thought I
him-
would say that. But yeah.
Let's go.
Hey, you're the lesser of two evils, that's for sure. So
Yeah, dude.
it's
Let's
gonna
go.
be down to the wire for sure. So that's Quinnipiac.
At
We'd
what
have to
point
check
in
on
our
it now.
politics are we going to be where we don't have to vote between the lesser of two evils?
Never.
Well, this is it. And you said it, Brett,
Jesus
because
comes
here's
back.
the issue. The issue is that the party did not put forward a decent candidate. So I
Yes.
put that back on them. The fact that we are trying to convince people to vote for Andrew Cuomo,
God.
that hurts my heart.
Yes.
Okay. This is just discouraging all the way around, because let's say he does pull off a win. They figure out how to get Siwa to drop. Cuomo edges it out. People come to their senses, or they're not sure, so they stay home, and he edges out. Then we have a guy who really did a lot of harm to a lot of people during the pandemic, in this city and in that state, and that presents its own set of challenges that I don't think people have quite wrapped their brains around. So
Yeah.
I'm just sad for New York all the way around. I got to tell you.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
don't you? Do you think he might have learned a little bit? Like, it seems like.
I don't.
I mean,
think so. I think he's.
you don't
just a
think so?
career
Like,
politician.
I just think he just
I
was.
hope
He bit
so,
off
like-
as governor. I think he just bit off more than he could chew. Now, I'm not making excuses for his bad policy, so that's not what I'm
Right.
doing. I'm just saying some people get a job that they're not qualified for, you know. And it's like, dude, pay attention. And they're like single task oriented people,
Yeah.
and they're not project managers. And
We'll
being a
see.
governor is like a massive project manager.
We're
Well,
gonna
look at
find
his
out here
brother,
soon
right?
enough.
Look
Yeah.
at Andrew Cuomo's brother, who was so entrenched at CNN
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
really was drinking the Kool-Aid. He has started to come around and
Mhm.
exposed himself to a little bit more truth. And
Yeah.
maybe there is hope for him, and I'm just being too cynical, but obviously we hold on to that hope, and we pray that when
Yeah.
people have seen how close they got to total disaster and destruction, that will influence them. But gosh.
Well, here's my question to you, Kyle. Do you think that is him actually seeing the light, so to speak, or is that little self-preservation?
Oh, definitely. No.
Self-preservation.
It really is, but also you have to understand what he's coming out of, right? When you're at a place like that, you don't have the freedom to question or think independently necessarily, right?
Right.
That's
That's a
like
good
that's
point.
your bread and butter. You're locked in. You're loyal, right? Okay,
Right.
so we can
Yeah,
find
that's
some
your
good in
job.
there.
Yeah.
Sure. And when you go out on your own, that's a lot of that's baked in, but I love seeing people kind of start to question, start to ask,
Mhm.
and it will take time. I think he will get better and better. It's Chris, right? Chris Cuomo.
Chris.
I have hope for him, truly. It's like a John Fetterman situation. People who have that ability to employ those critical thinking skills and make decisions for themselves independently. And you match that with a few brain cells rubbing together in there. And I think he's got the ingredients. I'd like to see him mix it together a little bit more. And hopefully Andrew has learned and will do better this go around, should he get the chance.
I hope so. And for Chris Cuomo, I really, now that I'm thinking about it, you got people like Don Lemon who
Oh,
are
God.
doubling down and
God.
not having any kind of self-preservation. It's like, so maybe there is some hope for Chris, because
Don
he
Lemon's a
is
really
so
good example
insufferable.
of someone who needed the structure of a network to make him good at his job. Now he doesn't have that. He doesn't have his team, his researchers, people filling his teleprompter, telling him what to say, giving him the interview questions. And he sort of went off the rails, truly. I mean, he's running around showing weird pictures to people in Subway, and he's getting absolutely cooked on his man on the street interviews.
Dude,
which is highly entertaining. But
And why
he did not do well out of that system.
No, and I don't know why he airs some of those man on the street interviews when the people are like, what are you out of your mind? Hell no, I don't like that.
You're in control when these get released. Like you can say no, dude.
I think that's his way of saying, look, I'm honest no matter what. And one of the things, like, he just got in trouble. I don't know how recent this was, but he said that Megyn Kelly looked trans. And then got cooked.
Not one person in America believes that at all.
Yeah.
What was the slang term he tried to use? She was not cooked. It was some other. He was trying to be
chopped.
He's just being catty. That's all.
And no.
He's mad she's better looking than he is.
Yeah, and then he got in trouble with his own people. He doesn't know what he's doing because, like, he can't even stay to the narrative that his people are telling him. Like, he said, well, she looks chopped, which means ugly, and then says, well, she looks trans, and then put them together, and now the trans community is like, screw you, because he's
okay. She is neither of those things.
Yeah,
I
100%.
always find it highly interesting
when
men are threatened by these strong, intelligent women, and Megyn Kelly is the epitome. She was like a prosecutor. She is so badass. She's so smart. She's so beautiful.
Fuck like Megyn Kelly.
And
the first time I heard
it, do it again.
Like, oh yeah.
And you can't put chopped in there. You can't put chopped in there with Megyn Kelly at all.
I totally have so much respect and admiration for Megyn Kelly. I don't like the language. I have said that to you guys before. But wow, she's had a brilliant career. And no, sorry, Don Lemon, you're the absolute worst. Like, don't start going after successful women because you can't do it.
Perfect example between Megyn Kelly and Don Lemon, who has thrived outside of their network support. Case closed.
Not that good. Yeah. Don Lemon back in the day, like 2014, 20 something around there, was like given the business. Like, would say some stuff like, dude, pull your pants up and all. You've seen those videos circulating. Yeah. What happened to that dude? He got the booster, the triple, I don't know.
he picked a line and he's towing it and he's not giving up. But
I think to Kyle's point, a lot of these talking heads are simply that, talking heads. They don't have any substance to them. They're highly polished.
Queens.
They're teleprompter queens and kings. I agree with you 100%. And for those that have been on the news in positions of perceived authority and power, including politicians, the last thing they want to do is get a real job.
Yeah.
Because they're, those folks that work in New York, they don't drive cars to work. Cars come pick them up and take them to work.
Yeah.
I wonder,
they're
Aaron,
catered to.
I wonder, Aaron, if he doesn't have to all he has to do is keep doing the talking points because he has a built-in audience from CNN. Yes. And that somebody's funding him from the behind the scenes, so he doesn't really care as long as he's putting out this content. You know what I'm saying?
As long as he's hitting his quota of content, whatever that is. Yeah.
Probably but he could go out there and be an honest Democrat and not look like a dummy and probably perform much, much better with his audience, just because he does know how to act on camera. He knows how to speak, and if he just would not be so silly. And those catty comments at Megyn Kelly, what did that accomplish? Now, unless that's what his audience really wants,
and it could be rage bait. That's all.
It's a fascinating study though, because I'm not sure any Democrat currently knows what the party talking points are. So could they actually go out there and represent the party when they're so fractured and disorganized and chaotic? Maybe that's why it's not going well, is because none of them are really actually sure what they stand for or what they're about.
Division and hate. Point. I mean, you want to create order out of chaos, and how do you get people stirred up? You have to use emotional language that invokes a response that gets people to think illogically and more emotionally. And next thing you know, we're going at each other's throats when really we could have sat down and said, well, I like this and you like that, and we can agree to disagree. And maybe you won this discussion, and maybe I get to win the next one, and on down the road we go. Maybe a little bit off put because you didn't get your way, but right now people, they're not off put, they're pissed off, and they don't even know why they're mad in most cases.
And then the Democrats are pushing, they just want to invoke emotional response. They don't have a platform at which to operate from. They just say let's just get them emotional. And then you see people like Don Lemon, he's just going to say something to make people respond. But it has no foundation in what the Democrat platform or trajectory is. He just wants people to react.
You know, and I kind of see that on X, you know, because these people are, I mean, the right, when it comes to any leftist or Democratic person posting on X, they just shred them, you know, like immediately they post. And so, you know, they're not looking and they're just triggering. That's what they're doing. They're getting that algorithm up, triggering, like, look, we're fighting the free fight. And the right, you know, they just play right into it every time, and it just.
Do you know what I
stuff.
loved? Can I tell you
Yeah.
what I loved to that point, Brian?
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton commenting on Trump remodeling the East
Oh
Wing,
my God.
and everyone who just the best comebacks of all time. Hillary Clinton is the last person who should be talking about what goes down at the White House. Lady, take a seat.
Take a
Oh
seat.
my God.
Sit this
You
one out,
say-
sweetheart.
You say something bad about the administration, they're going to say it was because your mom did it.
Dude, yeah, that was classic.
Caroline, love it. Yeah, your mama.
Your mom.
Oh my God.
I
What
mean,
a
when we
great-
can tell
what
mom
a
jokes and that's a
great-
comeback, that's fantastic.
And it worked. And it worked beautifully. And oh man, kudos to her for pulling that one out of the books from the 1990s. I loved it.
Dude, I
Yeah.
still use that
What
one
a
to this
boss.
day.
So Kyle, one thing I wanted to ask you about, because you're on the front lines out in California, so you see kind of what's going on with Gavin Newsom and all this BS. So do you think that California is more or less a litmus test of what is to come
Yeah.
in the entire U.S., as like you see right now with London, for example, and all that stuff in Europe? Do you see that is kind of what's happening through California as the portal, if you will?
Well, we usually see things in the UK before we see them here in the United States. And
Right.
in the United States, we usually see things in California before we see them in every other state.
Right.
You know, call it litmus test, call it bellwether. But what's happening is that we are going through one of the most entrenched times of corruption that is only going to be broken apart by new government leadership, by new gubernatorial leadership. That is the literal only thing that is going to fix this. No amount of lawsuits are going to upend this legislation and these laws that he has signed into being. The California State Supreme Court has 7 members on it. They like to say that like 5 are Democrat, 1 is centrist, and 1 is Republican. I think about 6.5 of those 7 are Democrat. So any lawsuit that comes up to them, they either squash it, they don't hear it, they punt it. You know, Prop 50 is being challenged and they're going to hear it 2 days after the election. So you can understand
that makes
how
sense.
Yeah.
sure how much they have set in place these protections to accomplish what they want. And it starts at the top and it stops at the top. And the only way that will change is a regime change, and that is next November, if we can survive, truly, if we can make it a year and then to that next January and get someone else in who is not someone who has been brought up under the Gavin Newsom School of Political Leadership. You know, and that's the only thing that's going to save us. And yes, this will happen in other states, because look at the finger pointing going on right now for this redistricting. That same thing will happen,
Yes.
and they'll say, well, California did it, so we can do it. And they'll use
Right.
the excuse.
Do you think that there might be a succession threat? Like if like from California, like, okay, you're making us do this, you know what?
No.
No, you don't
A
think
lot of people have said that, you know, we'll secede or we'll split into 2. There's this new California or new
Yeah, I've
majority
seen that.
plan to split. You know, I am not opposed to becoming a North and a South, because at least South would become more red and North would become more blue, and that would give us an option. I just don't think it's going to happen truly at the end of the day. I don't see it. I think we have a good shot at getting someone solid who really truly loves this state and would serve the people. Somebody like a Steve Hilton, who is a highly intelligent individual, to get in there and change things. He knows how to get things changed. And once that happens, we don't need to talk about those. You know, that's our own nuclear option. We don't have to consider that.
Right.
But meanwhile, the rest of the country hates our guts. And we're sitting over here saying, like, it's not us. We're trying.
Yeah.
We stay,
And
we
it's
fight,
it's
you know,
such a shame,
don't
'cause
put it on us, please.
California is the most beautiful state
Yeah.
in our
Especially
union.
northern.
Oh my gosh. Even Southern San Diego. I love San Diego.
I
Everywhere.
used to live in San
Yeah.
Diego and
Oh
LA.
my gosh. And I live in Texas.
San Diego is
like,
having so many. San Diego used to be, you know, a lot redder, and now a lot of our more fringe progressive issues are coming out of San Diego. It's really heartbreaking to see.
Man, that's a shame. It's
Well, pray for
such
us.
I know,
Yeah.
seriously. It's like, and I really hope that we can recover from what Gavin Newsom has done. And you being on the forefront, you're doing a hell of a job, at least letting people know what's going on. So
Thank
keep
you.
it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay and fight. You know, when this AB 495, which is this, you can show up at a school and take
That's
medical and
crazy.
educational custody of a kid. When Newsom signed that, we had Pastor Jack Hibbs and others saying you have to get out, you have to move, and we just a group of us just committed. We said we're gonna stay and fight, you know, to the bitter end here because this is our home. I mean, my kids are 5th generation Santa Barbaran, right?
Okay.
And while we're in one of the newer states or the younger states, we have so much history here, and we have fought to make it, you know, to carve out our space and have a beautiful, good, you know, life here. We love Jesus in America too, so we're gonna keep on at it and
That's
keep
all you need,
fighting.
baby.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we're coming to the top of the hour. I wanted to thank everybody who joined us this evening, especially our guest, Kyle Campbell. If you haven't had a chance to follow her on all of her socials, Kyle, call them out real quick.
Yeah, we've got at Politically Basic, except on X, there's no I in the basic, at Politically BASC, and then at Being Kyle Campbell. Please follow me as well. Thanks, guys.
And my fellow co-hosts, Brian Lane and Brett Lee. Brian, call out your socials, sir.
Brian Lane. With any
Across-
all the platforms. All of the platforms.
I am at Doge Official. You can see it on my little name tag under there, and at Real Brett Lee. And I think that's pretty much all I got.
All right. And I am AA Ron, the Doge Update Guy. Please, if you haven't had a chance to follow me, do the same. I'm at Doge Update Guy on all of the socials as well. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. And we look forward to talking to you. And thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to turn off your Instagram feeds.
Socially basic. That'll be